Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Morning Gardening Show, and we're talking a little bit about emergency gardening today. Emergency gardening today. Here's what I'm doing. I'm starting everything early. I'm using a winter sowing technique that will help me start my garden early because I just finished watching the news and watching the presidential information they have on there for today, and we're in trouble if we don't watch what we're doing. We're in trouble. So I said to myself, go ahead and get the garden started early. Um, and I'm having a good time doing it, but it's so much to do. It just catches me up because I mean it's so much to do with my garden. I don't know, how I'm going to get all of this done, but I am going to get it done. I got to organize better. Organization is very important when you're gardening, so I got to make sure I do that. But today my plan is to start some peppers, which is big gem peppers, and also I want to start possibly some corn, get that started, and all of it will be done in jugs. Outside right now, let me give you. Let's see what's the temperature outside. I'm gonna show you how you can definitely start stuff, and it doesn't have to be the right time of year, but you can get stuff started indoors or outside using winter sowing. There are tons of videos out there on winter sowing. Just pick the right one and use that technique. It'll get plants started early because you're going to need to start an emergency garden this year, definitely. Here's what we got going on. It is 20 degrees outside. All you need to do is put your seeds in containers, and when you put them in containers, you are ready to put them outside. And when the temperature gets just right, that's when the seeds are breaking, start showing up. And that's what you need to do. You don't need to wait until all the way up into spring. Go to the store, give them $5 and $6 per plant, Barney's. But yet, last year they were about close to $5 per plant. Come on now. Some of us that don't know how to start our own plants are going to have to learn, unless you got a boatload of monies. But yeah, so that's what you want to do. Get your plants started early. Winter sowing starts out strong plants, and as soon as the weather starts breaking, you keep an eye on the nighttime temperatures. Um, and nighttime temperatures tell you exactly when it's time for you to get this ball rolling, get them out in the yard. And like I said, I'm using different techniques in the yard where I'm not digging a lot. I'm not going to dig a lot on my property. I don't like digging up my soil because it tears up the soil. So shovel in, flip the soil over, let the grass face downward. And yes, and people might say, well, he didn't mention that he's gonna till his yard up and he's going to cut the grass and make everything. No, I don't do all of that. I don't do that. I leave these roots in the ground. It's important to have roots in the ground throughout your garden. Roots help bring all kind of nourishment into your soil, and you protect that nourishment by not digging in it everywhere. But if you want to dig into it, I can't stop you. It's something that you have to do, and by all means. But I don't dig, and I know that it's less work. Um, Planning out everything is important. Getting it in the ground, and don't do a garden that's too big for you to handle. Don't do that. I've done that before. It's not a good feeling to have all of this stuff out there depending on you, and then you're sitting up in the house thinking, oh, it's so hot, I can't go out there and water, or oh, it's gotten too late, I'm sleepy, I want to go to sleep tonight because I have to go to work tomorrow. You don't want a garden like that that you can't take care of. You want a garden that you put in items that grow well in your area. You want to put in items that you love to eat. And I usually put items in my property that are quite expensive items, I call them, because expensive items are better. Now, bell peppers, um, I could grow them, but I'm not. I have some bell pepper seeds, but I'm not crazy about bell peppers. I mean, I'll eat them if they're there, but it's no big deal. But to think about this for a second, folks, to put seeds in winter sowing in a jug. I'm collecting jugs now, and I got to cut them, and I got to stick holes in the bottom, and I have the tape already, which is a gray masking tape. I got to get some labels for these jugs so that when I label everything up, the labels protected from water and they also protected from sunlight. And so when I look at them jugs, if I have any seeds that look similar, I'll be able to look at them and say, oh, these are the watermelons. Oh, these are the cabbage or whatever. I'll be able to tell what they are. So I'm looking forward to that. And as I said earlier, keep the cats away from your seed trays. They will knock them over, tear them up, and you'll go out there and you'll look and you'll see where a cat knocked it over, left it on the ground, and you say, God darn it. Now I have to find a place in the garden to put them in right now because the cat knocked them over and be a matter of time, short period of time before they start dying out there, just out of the soil, out of the water supply. And you don't want that because you spend too much time growing them. The seeds this year saw in Walmart, no, excuse me, Home Depot, uh, and they're about $2.97 here in Maryland. All right, that's a pack of seeds. I don't know if they cut back on the amount of seeds that are in the pack, but I do know that when you go to buy those seedlings, excuse me, those seedlings, they are expensive. They are expensive. That's an expensive way to do it. Is to go in there and say, "Let me buy a pepper plant. Let me buy egg. What they call them things. Let me buy eggplant. Let me buy um, something like seeds for tomatoes." And when you look at the bill and realize you only bought 3 plants, and if your garden here's how it works. If your garden costs you more than it's actually worth doing it, then that kind of takes the fun out of it. So to start seeds, get them up and going, and kind of over seed because you want to make certain that the seeds that you have is enough, and you can't go back and get time and do it over again. So if you need 6 tomato plants, plant 8, plant 10, because sometimes seeds do not germinate, and you want to make sure that you definitely get to 8. If you get a little over, that's fine. But if you get 8, that's better. You don't want to not have enough plants. And I got to tell you, it's going to be expensive this year because everybody knows that you're buying these seedlings to grow food. They know this. And the grocery stores really don't want you growing a bunch of food because you're not coming to the grocery store and you're cutting into their profit. So, and to have you learn, let me put it like this: here in Maryland is a very difficult place, in a sense, I think, to garden. For all the years I've been here about I've been gardening for about 25 years, and the gardens centers are far and few. There's not a lot of information out there for you. You got to really dig and look around. They had one store that closed up. Here it was right here, and it was a beautiful store. It's been here. Um, let's see, when did it? 1910. Meyer Seeds. Meyer Seeds. This was in Maryland. And let me tell you something about Meyer Seeds. Meyer Seeds specialize in all the items that you can grow here in Maryland, and they would give you information when you went there. They would have seedlings that were definitely better priced than going to Walmart or Home Depot or anything like that. And they sold you information. I mean, they sold you things and gave you information on how to grow it. But they got all kind of beans, snap beans. Um, Here in Maryland will grow well. Cabbage, carrots, and then they got the Swiss chard. They got those rainbow mix. Yep, that's the Swiss chard. Then you got the cucumbers. You also got, what's this one called here? Long purple eggplant. See, so they're telling you this particular type of eggplant does well in Maryland. That's what they're telling you. Cucumbers, corn. Um, Now the corn I like to grow is, and I don't have that this year, and I'm not going out and I'm not buying any corn seeds. I already have corn seeds. I'm gonna use those, and that's the name of that tune. But they call sweet corn. I don't know how they're gonna taste or anything like that, but I do know that's what I'm gonna put in the ground, Lord willing. That's what I'm putting in the ground. Um, Peaches and cream is what I usually buy. It was a gardener that got me turned on to that, and he was on YouTube, and I don't know where he is now. Oh, here it is, peaches and cream. So they're telling you right off the bat, hey, and look, it got over close to 20 different varieties of corn that grow well here in Maryland. But peaches and cream was my favorite. Uh, with resistance, it was good. Kernel raw count 18 to or 16 to 18. Plant ear height. Peaches and cream will grow approximately a little over 7 feet tall. And I'm gonna tell you something about corn. A lot of people might not know. I'm gonna put up another video that's coming out very soon, and I want you to pay attention to it because it's coming out very soon. I won't include it in this one, but I'm gonna tell you how to get your plants to produce more product or more vegetables. In other words, some people put a tomato plant out, they grow a couple of tomatoes, 4 or 5 tomatoes, and that's it. Plant fizzles out. It's telling you a lot is going on that you might not see. Your soil could be weak and poor. Hello, how you doing, Miss Sue Miller? Yeah, she dropped by. Yeah, I was getting ready to close out, but I'll be back. But the thing about it is your soil, like where I live, my house has been here for a long time. That soil has been there. It's had many years of leaves falling on it, weeds growing in it, grass growing in the soil, and all of that has altered that soil. But when you get a brand new property or a new house, um, they scrape all that good soil off and they leave you with that rough clay, and that clay soil is what they use to construct the property. They want a solid area to set the house up, foundation. But soil can be improved, uh, and when soil is improved, you can grow some incredible crops on that soil. And so that's where I'm at with it. Is that I pay attention to like growing soil, like food forest permaculture. He has this method of growing soil. Um, I have a wood chipper that I purchased, and I'm hoping that I have fun using that this year, because to chip all that is electric. To chip all this wood, the wood that comes out of my trees when I prune these fruit trees back, those um, wood chips are going to be used to better improve my soil, or to put it around my plants as mulch, so that when I water, my water just don't dissipate because of the heat of the sun. It actually sits in there, hangs in there, and whatever comes up around that plant and it eats that wood, it will excrete waste, and the waste materials are used to feed your plant. Here in Maryland, again, Julie. It looks like Julie watermelon. You got another one that's a sugar baby watermelon. You got another one that grows well in Maryland, which is Charleston Gray, Simpson Sweet, Juliet. What's this one here? Called Sugar Baby. It's just so many, and they're showing you hybrids. Uh, you know, watermelons. But I want to try watermelons this year as well. And if I get anything going, I'm definitely going to film it and show everybody what's the deal. Now, I do another thing where I hide all my food that I grow. People say, "Well, how do you hide your food that you grow?" Well, if you grow corn, you really can't hide your food. You just can't. Corn tells everybody, "Hello, hello, there's a garden here. Oh, look at the corn. It's got these big, sweet, juicy cobs of corn on it." You know, corn does that. It announces itself. Tomatoes do the same thing in a way, especially when they start turning red. But here's what I do: I let my whole yard grow up. I go out there, cut the yard down so I can work in it with the lawnmower. I bag all of the grass clippings. I use my grass clippings to mulch around my plants. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And then I take my wood chips and I use them as mulch as well. Put them around trees, put them around vegetable plants, etc., etc. And I don't dig in anything. I just simply, oh, hello, hello, how you doing? This is a Hello Morning Gardener. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Um, so I am in it to win it, and that's how I'm looking at it. I have all my seeds, and my seeds are old. Some of these seeds are old. Um, so instead of me putting 6 seeds in, I might put 10 seeds in. And out of the 10, I might get 6 plants that come up, might get 8 plants that come up. Um, and that's how I'm going to do it. And when those seeds are gone, uh, I will grow some more seeds, package them up like I normally do, and label them and the date when they was put in. And those seeds will be better for my garden because they already are familiar with the genetics or the way the makeup of my soil is. It's already there. They don't have to adjust to the soil. They're already part of the soil. So I do that with my seeds, my okra seeds. I'm growing burgundy okra, and I'm growing what's the okra called? Oh God, what is it called? It's called spineless okra. And the thing about it is when you buy okra, you buy a little pack of them. You put them out there, you let them grow, and you take a couple of plants and you let that plant sit over on the side and mature all the way out. So where okra gets about 6 and 8 inches long. Then it'll dry up when it's finished producing, and then you crunch them open and put them in little tiny little bags and mark on there spineless okra 2025, and that way you got plenty of okra seeds for next year, and you'll get so many seeds back, folks. Same thing go with collard green and kale. You get so many seeds back. All right, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Lord have mercy, I've been talking for a good, oh, it's only been 19 minutes. I must get something to eat then. That's what's going on. I'm kind of burned out, but there's nobody. uh oh, wait a minute. Let's see what we got here. Miss Sue Miller Hitchens. I have been testing my seeds before I plant. All right, take if you and if they then say no worst time. Let's see, energy. Okay, Miss Sue Miller, I used to want to do that, and it's a good idea. It's a real good idea. But what I do is here's what I do. I have containers that I put my seeds in, and it says in this size container, it says put in 2 seeds and grow the plants. Pick the biggest one. Okay, got that. I may put in 3 seeds. I may put in 4 seeds. When they come up, I let them grow. The biggest and the strongest seedling is one I keep. There might be 2 I keep out of the 4. I snip them off with a pair of scissors, and I take them out there and put them in the ground, and I load them down with beautiful, beautiful fertilizer and compost, and like I said, wood ash. I'm using that this year. I got some beautiful eggshells of powder that I made with my blender, and in the early stages of like growing, say for instance, watermelon, I use fertilizer that's very high in nitrogen because I want to get the plants off to a real good, strong start. And then once they start flowering, I change the fertilizer up to something else that is really good for blooms. And when you do that, you're right on the money. But you want to remember that when you're doing this, is that you're in control of a lot of things, and you want to make certain that you see if your plant gets big and gangly, um, but they're not producing fruit, there's a reason for that. Because your plants are set up to produce the plant, produce the fruit so that it can restart itself. That's where the seeds are. And if your plant's not overdoing it with the growing the plant, and you could signal your plant to to grow more blooms, then you get more fruit. And you can do that a lot of times with the way that you're fertilizing the plant. That you can do that, and the plant will acquiesce, so to speak, do exactly what you need it to do. If you say, "Wait a minute, this tomato plant is big enough. I want to start growing more blooms," and there are things you can do to stimulate that plant to grow more blooms. Um, because a plant, if you let it do exactly what it wants to do all the time, it's going to say, "Grow, get about 7, 8 inches tall." It's going to try to put you out some little blooms, what might be about 3 or 4 blooms, and it'll produce those, and it'll focus all its attention on those 4 tomatoes, and the plant will stop growing. You don't want it to do that. You want it to keep rolling forward, and you can do certain things to make that plant do that, to get big, to get rid of suckers, get rid of suckers. When you get rid of those, you can replant those if you want extra tomato plants. Um, and you can have your plant really taking off and producing more tomatoes if you give it the right types of fertilizer and telling it, hey, keep producing blooms. And that's just part of the dance. Anyone else in B, I mean 8B? Okay, all right. This person came and didn't say hello. Why do some people do that? But at any rate, I digress. Um, I'm in 7B. 8B is a good growing zone as well. I am definitely. Oh, that's okay. That's all right. But I will say that that's important. What you brought up there. Hello. All right now. Um, Try to find out what grows best where you live, and you got that beautiful tool that'll help you do it. It's called a computer, and you could say what plants grow best in Maryland, for instance, and it's information there. Phosphorus. Phosphorus is it will help stimulate blooms phosphorus. I think I'm saying that correctly. But uh, when you go to stores and you buy fertilizer, pay attention. You got some fertilizer. You ever see fertilizer marked for flowers? Well, that's high in phosphorus. It produces flowers, and a bloom is basically a flower. So you got some fertilizers that are high in nitrogen. That's for basically plant growth to grow the plant. Um, and the and basically watering is so key. How many people mess up their garden and they do one little thing right? Here's what they do. If they like I am, sometimes I do this, and I make mistakes too. Yeah, that's right. I make mistakes. Absolutely. Yeah. I've been doing it for 25 years, but I still make mistakes. Sometimes I used to put all the stuff in the garden, get everything out there, and everything's growing beautifully and everything. And then I say, all right, it's doing good. And then it gets overwhelming. Plants get big, start growing all into each other. And then I start watering and watering and water and it's hot out there. And I'm saying, wow, I should have came out this morning and watered these plants. Watering your plants is so critical. You got to put the right amount of water, and you don't want to add too little water, and you don't want to add too much water. Because if you do, your plants are going to respond a certain way when you uh, when you give them too much water, or if you don't give them enough water. And there's a countdown method I use when I am watering, say, a tomato plant, for instance. Hold the hose on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I stop and I go to the next plant. And the reason why I do that is because I'm in clay soil. I don't know how you would do it if you were in sandy soil that dries out real quick. You got to watch that, but you don't want to overwater. You don't want to underwater. Lots of gardeners, even the big pros, farmers, make mistakes when it comes to one single thing, and that's watering. They make mistakes. You poke your finger down in the ground about to that point, poke it down and see if that seed is. I mean, see if that plant area root area is moist. If it's moist, if it feels a little moist, leave it alone. Don't mess with it. With some plants, you don't do that. Don't do it. Just say nope. Or early in the morning, late in the evening. With some plants, but some plants is better early in the morning. That way, when the sun comes up, it dries your plants off. It don't leave all the moisture and wetness on your plants, so they can start developing all kind of diseases. You don't want to do that. And I'm gonna tell you something. If you don't have a rain barrel system yet, see if you can work something out, a way to get a rain barrel system set up. A rain barrel system will make your garden jump out the ground because water from the earth, like in a stream, or water from rain, is the best. When you put water in there from your house, and I'm gonna break this down to you because I know a lot of you don't might not know this. When you break this water, when you use this water from your house, I want you to one day Google what's in my water from my spigot. What's in the water from my spigot? And you will find there are all kind of chemicals in that water. And these chemicals are designed to kill all kind of germs and bacteria. Now, what is your soil mainly comprised of? Oh, wait a minute. All kind of forms of life that's in your soil. And when you use the water, it kills them. It don't kill them all, but it kills enough of them to have your plant struggling. And you wondering why don't the tomato plants grow like they do on the books, and why don't they grow like they do in the magazines when I see the big pretty tomatoes and big pretty watermelons and the plants on the packs of the seeds? Why can't I get plants to do that? You can't get them to do that because you're doing a whole bunch of stuff that's different from what those pros are doing. The pros are using, sometimes they're using areas that they grow them in that's at the perfect temperature. They're using water that's perfectly, uh, 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 excuse me, my arm is hurting, really it is. Um, Using water that's perfectly designed, if you would, for lack of a better word, for those plants. They don't have all the chemicals in it. The water's at the right temperature that they're giving the plants. The soil's at the correct temperature. The soil is abundant of food in the soil for that plant. They know how to nurture their plant. They know what it needs and they make sure that it gets it. And that's what plant specialists do. And they're not going to ever tell you all the secrets that they did. I've seen a woman, the people that take the pictures of the plants, that put the plants on the packs of your seeds, the pictures, and on the magazines and all of that. These people don't grow plants by accident. They're experts, and they always pick the strongest and the best plants. It's like when you're saving seeds, you pick the best and the strongest tomato to save the seeds from. You pick the best and the strongest cucumber that's perfectly ripe so you can get the seeds from it. That's how you save your seeds. You don't get the weaklings and try to save the seeds from them. You get the big strong ones. It's kind of like Mandingo. They're the strongest, and they will grow you beautiful plants. They're also, as I said earlier, they're familiar with your soil. It's not difficult to grow these plants, but a lot of you struggle. A lot of you struggle. I know because I look at the pictures in the plants that people put in there from YouTube. They put the plant in the ground. They put water on it. They put some kind of fertilizer on it, and they hope for the best. Well, I mean, and then when they grow what they're growing, they wonder how come this didn't produce like it does in the magazines. It's not going to produce like it does in the magazine because if the guy or the woman that's growing it for the magazine, these people use all kind of manures. They use all kind of plant life liquids they make from their grass clippings. They don't run to the store buying the stuff that the average person is buying from the store to fertilize their plants. That's expensive. And what you buying primarily, or basically, you buying is yard waste, chicken feces, hog, what the other one is, cow feces, and it's expensive. They put it in a bag and they do a whole bunch of stuff to it from the beginning, so that you don't open up the bag and you smelling it and all of that, because they know a lot of people are smellers, what they call, this stinks. I'm not using this. They know that, so they do different things with it. And when they do that, they try to make it palatable to the person who's purchasing it as well. So it loses a lot of its benefits when they're processing it to put it in bags. And that's just the name of that tune, folks. And they make money off of those fertilizers. I see them $8, $9 a bag. And then when you go home, you're scared to use it up because of how much it costs. Come on now. And then you ask yourself, wait a minute, let's see, if I bought a $12 bag of fertilizer and I bought $5 plants a piece, and let's see, my water bill for my house, and is it really worth growing this stuff? And you take the fun out of it. Here's what I do when I go out my yard. I get my lawnmower out because I don't put no poisons in my grass. I get my lawnmower out. I put the bagger on it. cut, pile it, cut, pile it, cut, pile it, cut, pile it. Then when I do that, I got my seedlings in the ground. I go around them with grass clippings. What is in that? High in nitrogen. It's high in all kind of nutrients. Grass grows great on a property that's been here for many years. The soil has got everything I need. Then I got that going. I even take my weeds and I put them aside and put them around the plant after I cut them down with the lawnmower. I know what I'm doing. I'm using the methodology that nature has used. Nature uses plants like leaves, branches, grass clippings, weeds that grow and get old enough and then die. All of that goes back to the soil. That's what it does. There is nothing better for plants. There's nothing else on God's earth that's better for plants than plants because that's what they eat. The biology eats the plant. When it eats the plant, it lives there underneath your plant, and they live, they mate, die, they excrete their bodily waste and everything. That's what your plant is eating. And when it rains, it liquefies all of this nutrients under the plant. And the plant takes those long roots and draws in that nutrients. That's why sometimes you see after a rain, you see your plant standing up and it looks strong and just like they're ready to produce big tomatoes for you. They're doing that because they're getting food. I'm gonna throw something else at you. If you ever drive by a cemetery that's been there for many years, look at size trees that are on that property. Big, strong, perfectly green trees. I hate to bring this up, but the tree is not going out to lunch and coming back. It's eating all the nutrients that you put in that ground when those coffins open up eventually, when they rot open or break open or whatever. They eat that. But it's bone matter, hair, skin, everything that the biology eats, the plants get. All right, that's a little morbid, but plants don't have feelings like you and I do. They know to eat so they can survive and produce. So their whole job is to produce those seeds and start their life back over again. With newborn seedlings coming up in the area where they was take a watermelon, leave it in the field. Next year you come back, all that the animals didn't eat, they're gonna be watermelons coming up there on their own. They're gonna come up on their own. And they know when to come up. They don't come up in the dead of winter. They don't come up as it's going in the fall. They wait until the soil temperatures start to rise in the spring and summer, and then they start popping up all over the place. And you say to yourself, well, how did these collard greens come back? Or how did these watermelon seeds come back? You got them, they set up for that. They set up to come back. As long as you lose the seeds in the ground. I'll tell you what I did. I bought collard green seeds, kale seeds, about 7, 8 years ago. I'm still using those same seeds because when I pull all of the leaves off of the plants, next year that plant will try to grow back again, but the leaves will be smaller and it'll grow all these little pods that look like tiny string beans, and then they'll turn brown. And then at just the right time, you got to get to them when they start cracking open. And then you get you a container, you pull the plant up, and you ruffle all the seeds out of the pods, and you got brand new seeds, kale or collard greens. That's how you save your seeds, and that's how you keep going. And you try to buy seeds that are heirloom seeds. Hybrids are okay for certain things, but you don't want to depend on them to grow them back because they do not grow the exact plant back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Morning Garden. Thank you so much for tuning in. I got 8 people in here. Wow. I like that. Thank you so much. And it looks like the show is growing because what I try to do is give you absolute information from things that I have experienced. I'm not trying to give you information something I don't know about. I'm not sure about. And you know, sometimes I listen to some of the shows and they got these experts out there, you know, I don't know. But I've been growing for 25 years and I have seen uh beautiful, beautiful plants I've grown. Okra, watermelon. Um, and I remember getting a 40-pound bag and putting it outside, cutting some holes. I mean, poking some holes in the bottom, about 15 to 20 holes, flipping it over, cut out a hole on each end, and put in some cantaloupe seeds. And I lost track of the cantaloupes. They had these big, pretty cantaloupes all through the yard. And I'm looking at them. I said, these are prettier than the grocery store cantaloupes. Oh my goodness. And I said, "Oh my goodness!" They grew right out of a bag of soil that I grew. What the was? I think it was. I think I grew it in a bag of manure. That cheap bag of manure that they have at Walmart or no, excuse me, Home Depot. You got the high dollar stuff, which is called Black Cow, which I don't like to deal with them. I don't care what people say because I called the company up and I asked them to return my call, to give me a call, to give me some information. Where do the cows come from that you get the manure from that you're selling me? Where does the cow manure come from? Where? Are you using pharmaceuticals on these cows? None of that information came back to me. So I said, let me stop buying this stuff because I don't know what's in it. And if they won't tell me, and if they won't give it to me in writing, what could they possibly be afraid of? Because they're not telling me nothing. And I was buying that stuff by the bags, 50 bags at a time. And I was putting it out there. Yeah, stuff grew from it, but sometimes you get it, it'd be loaded up with wood. Sometimes you get it, it'd be loaded up with I just I didn't like that deal. And then they had the nerve that every year seemed like they kept jacking the price up. So I said, I'm done with this. Hello, Food Farms Permaculture. I mentioned you a few minutes ago. You're in there somewhere. I don't know what how many minutes ago, but I did mention that if people want to learn, you know, there's another gentleman there, folks, right there. Look at him down there, Food Farmers Permaculture. He is he's a from another planet that he understands how plants feed and how they take care of themselves, and you can get a lot of information from his sites as well. But I like it when he goes out there fishing too, and I like those. I like those as well. Those films. But I also like when he go out there and he be picking fruit and and uh and he just be. I say, look at that. He's eating good. He gets the food straight off of the plant, and he knows that nobody's come up there and sprayed any weird chemical that cause people to grow a tail or something like that. He knows what he's talking about. So keep him on there. Subscribe to that channel as well. I mean, I'm having too much fun, and I want him to have some fun too, talking to people and giving them that good information. Thank you kindly, MG for Morning Garden. Thank you very much. Thank you. I have all my seeds. I'm getting ready to do some winter sowing, food, forest, permaculture. I'm getting ready to do it. That's what I'm getting ready to do. And I know I'm starting early up here. It's 20 degrees up here right now. But one thing I understand about winter sowing is I've never had any problem with it. I just never had. It don't matter when I start them. I set them out there, and I don't even water them. I just set them out there, and when it rains or snows, it takes care of all that. And then when it starts getting warmer, I go out there and start checking those containers. If I see any green in them, I say, "Oh, we getting there." And this year, I'm doing peppers that's called Big Gems. I lost a whole thing of seeds Big Gems, because I know I saved a whole bunch of seeds last year, Big Gem seeds. I don't know where they are. I'm gonna look back in my seed container and see can I find them. People, whatever you do, don't put your seeds and mix them up like I do in my containers. Don't do that because you put them in there, you don't know where they are. You got all these little packages and envelopes and all of that, and you just don't know where the seeds are. So it took me almost an hour and something to go through my seeds and go, I'm growing this, I'm growing that, I'm growing this, I'm growing that, I'm growing this. And that's what I did. And now tonight, once I get off the line here, I'm going to put together a jug for corn. It's just called sweet corn. I didn't get the uh what that corn called. It's called peaches and cream. I did not get that. I'm just reading some of the messages y'all left here, so I don't. I heard my local farm sells cow manure, but sure if it's true. Huh. I'm just looking here because we were talking about cow manure earlier, and I was talking about what I used to put in my yard religiously, which was a black cow. I stopped. I stopped because I don't know where it's coming from or what or if they're using pharmaceuticals in it. I don't know what they're doing because I tried to get in touch with the business, and they gave me a salesperson to speak with, and he called me up a couple of times, gave me um, some kind of free, uh, to help pay for my black cow. So I used that a couple of times, and after a while, I started saying, "Wait a minute, they haven't answered your question yet. What's in this stuff?" So then I stopped asking them, and I said, "Okay, I'm done." Winter did not happen here. No snow, sun, and warm. And t-shirt. Okay, y'all didn't get winter yet. Food farms permaculture. Well, here we got 20 degrees. It snowed yesterday. Uh, whoa, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. It's 18 degrees now. Temperature went down some. Went down some. Temperature went down. So I got that, and let me see what else I got. Look at all these apples behind me. I did that because I like the picture of the apples because I grow apple trees, but so far they haven't produced. Well, yes, they have. Yes, they have. They have produced some, but it's weird. They're getting old enough to produce, and I got to go out there and do some maintenance to my trees and everything and get everything back up and running. I also purchased, and it took a long time to figure out I was going to do it. I purchased some. No, I purchased one uh, plant that produces pomegranates. I found one that will produce in my area. Hold on, people. I'll be right back. I had to look outside real quick. I got a camera set up. Did that a few years ago, about 24 years ago, and I thought I was getting some mail deliveries, but he stopped. But I don't see him coming to my house. Okay, so pomegranates. That's what I got. I got that. I always wanted it, and I ordered it from Wilson's. I can't remember the name of it. Wilson's. And I'm only telling you this because They had them when nobody else had them. The only one was one place I found called Stock Brothers, and Stock Brothers had one which was wonderful. That's the name of the pomegranate, and it doesn't do well in my location because it's between 10. I think it's between 10 and 7 zone. Well, I'm in 7, uh, but the temperatures in this zone are changing, and you might be noticing this in your area too. Your environment is changing that your plants are being planted in. They're changing. I know because I started gardening here 25 years ago. The weather was different. Now I have to look at that and go, wait a minute, something has changed here. It gets hot and cold and cold and hot. It rains and then sometimes it don't rain. It used to rain more often and now it doesn't. But here's what's going on. Rain barrels. Think about it, folks. You set them up, let the water run off of your roof into the rain barrels, and you do not have to pay anymore to water your garden or your fruit trees. I put up a 100 gallon system, and my neighbor he's putting up a 200-gallon system, and he got the idea from me. So I'm glad that he got the idea and he's going to use it because he's putting down a garden because he's gotten tired of grocery prices going through the roof. They're going through the roof. Black Cow Run Homestead. I didn't think there was mail today because of the. Oh, you're right. You're right. Thank you very much, Miss Sue Miller. Yeah, yeah. Because I looked out there, I saw a truck pull up. It looked like an Amazon truck. You heard about Amazon truck? That's out there where they people are very unhappy at Amazon. The workers, they're very unhappy. I remember a lot of people that when they opened their doors up, ran off and went and worked there. And a lot of people I know didn't last long. Black Cow ruined Homestead. Wow, I didn't never knew it damage your garden. But I'm gonna tell you something. I bought the Black Cow for the because I was doing watermelons and stuff. And watermelons are heavy feeders. So is corn. If you ever want to stretch a bag of manure, you get you a stocking, put you about 1 or 2 pounds of it in the toe of the stocking, tie it up, drop it down in drop it down in a container of water, like 5 gallon bucket, bounce it up and down, and use that water to water your garden. That's one way to go. Me, I do it even cheaper. I get them grass clippings that nothing's been sprayed on them, nothing to stop weeds, nothing to do. I put the grass in a 32-gallon trash can, about a quarter of the way up, a little higher if I want it. And I've let it fill up for natural rain, or I fill it up with water from the house and let it just sit there for about 2 or 3 weeks. The longer the better. 3 weeks is better. And then you stir that stuff up, put it in an area away from, can you say away from your neighbors and away from your house? Just set it up a little bit because it does carry a slight odor. And then when you get it going, all that water going to turn into a murky green color. And it's some powerful stuff. It's powerful. It will grow a limb back. I mean, if people know you know about this, they won't be able to sell you them fertilizers in them stores a lot of times. They won't be able to sell it because you pour that down around that plant and it'll just take off. It'll just take off. That's why I use my grass clippings. I always use my grass clippers. I used to go to my neighbor's yard. Old man, he passed on, but he used to cut his yard. And I said, Mr. Bill, what are you gonna do with your grass clippings? That was years ago. And he said, well, I'm gonna throw them back here in the low back of the yard and just leave it. I said, no, I'll take them. I knew what I was doing. I put them around the fruit trees. I put them around um, vegetable plants, and they would just sit there and rot. What I mean by rot is that they would dry up and they would go right back into the earth, right straight back into the earth. I loved it because I saw big, pretty, sweet tomatoes from doing that. Okra was just I put it around the okra, and it was so many okra pods jumping out. I could not hardly keep up with them. And I thought about that. I said, wait a minute. If if you're the morning gardener and you're getting the water free with the rain barrel, you're also getting fertilizer from using your weeds and your grass. Huh. Tell your good people online about this stuff so they can do it. But first, I was thinking they're not going to do it because it's too easy and it's going to be. They're going to say, no, I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to do my garden like that. I want to. I want my garden neat and in rows and pretty and everything. Let me tell you something. What I do, I hide all my garden stuff right out there in front of my neighbors. They can't see it. Tomatoes growing in the midst of where the grass at. Uh, Potatoes growing in the midst where there's grass at. And I know what the plants look like, and I know where I planted them at. And I put little markers up on everything that look like a piece of wood is a marker, and it tells me where those plants are, what row is here, and I can even write it down and do me a map if I wanted to make sure I don't forget anything. Grass, weeds, leaves, plants, and make a. Absolutely, there you said it. There you said it. Yep, you can use the grass, the weeds, the leaves, all of this stuff. I used to because I used to just collect when I first started gardening. I used to collect just the leaves during the fall. But the problem with that was I was running out of leaves. I had big piles of leaves. I had I used to go and collect it in my car. I used to go collect leaves. Big bag, lady put out 30 bags of leaves. I go get them. Yes, I would go get them. I'm not recommending you do that because the world is different now, and people might figure you're doing something else. Yep. So grass clippings, leaves, weeds, all food for your plants. And then what's left over, I pile it up on the corner over there, and that's my compost pile. And then when I need to put a plant in a cup to give to a friend or whatever, I go out there, take and it turns into black, pretty soil when you let it rot all the way down. It turns to black soil. I'm mix that around in there with my garden medium, and that plant's got food until she needs to feed it again. But I'll give it a plant. It'll be a tomato plant or okra plant, and she got the plant. Now she could go start her own thing. Okra is really good. All right, good people. This is the Morning Gardener. Thanking you for stopping in. I'm going to go get me some nourishment myself since I've been talking about plants eating. I need to eat something. But thank you for tuning in. Take care. Yep, definitely take care.